What's up guys, Cody here. Today I'm going to be teaching you a few tips with Xayah, and I'll be going over masteries and items as well. So, first thing, you have to kind of understand how her passive works to understand how to play her properly. Her passive gives her 3 feathers when she casts an ability. Okay, these feathers go through the enemy. Now, you get 3 and you can hold 5 at a time. So what this means is you shouldn't just spam your spells all at once. You should try to weave spells and autos together, such as this. Do this, 1, 2, let me recall now, maybe, and then this, do something like that to best utilize your passive and to kind of get maximum damage output. Let's talk about the first combo you'll be able to do with Xayah. At level 2, you should have your Q and E. You should take Q first, E second. E especially if you want to go aggressive. So it's a really simple combo. You Q, 1 auto, recall. Now it is important to note your attack doesn't count as a feather until it's completely on the ground. After you hit level 3, you take W, and then you can just do this, where get that, and then you turn on your W, and then you chase them down, and try to get a good positioning on them. For skill order of what you want to max Q, then W, then E. Before we get into ult, other things we can do with Xayah is we can poke enemies through minion waves. If I spawn another here, as we know, Xayah's spells go through minions. So when an opponent walks up in certain positioning, if you see an opportunity where you can just poke them down while it's CSing, then go ahead and do that. Another thing we can do is, when you're getting ganked, turn on your W to kite to run away properly, since that gives you a bit more movement speed. And also, what you want to be doing is, if you have feathers on the ground, keep in mind where those feathers are, because the farther away your feathers are, the more... If I throw out a few feathers here. The farther away your feathers are, the more likely they are to hit an enemy when you recall them. So it can help prevent a gank, and it can help prevent your death. Final thing we're going to look at is her ult. Her ult is very weak. Don't use it as a tool for dealing more damage. It's mostly used as a defensive tool. It's used to dodge abilities. As you jump up in the air, you're invulnerable in that time period when you jump up. But the main purpose of the ult is to guarantee a root on your E. That is really the main reason. Now, you can't really chase with this, as you would assume, because if you chase with it, if I can get this in the right range, yeah. If you chase with this, this enemy right now would be running away, and the root would not ever hit him. So chasing with it's not really a good option. Running away, however, like I said before, is a good option, because if remember what I said before, the farther away your feathers are, the more likely they are to hit an enemy. So you're much better at getting a root off with that. In a team fight, it can work out pretty well, assuming you're not being targeted. Xayah is very weak against assassins, anybody that has really good potential to just dive the backline, as she doesn't really have a whole lot of ways to avoid them aside from just using a summoner spell or just straight ulting. And a lot of assassins can generally get around your ult. While your ult does make you invulnerable, unless you're going up against like a Zed maybe, or a Fizz ult, you're not... It doesn't really give you that much safety, because it's not like you're moving anywhere. Like, the farthest you can move, it's just like normal distance. So let's get into masteries. For masteries, generally speaking, you are always going to want to have Fervor, as any extra AD that you get is going to be added on to the damage she does with her abilities. And she's like Lucian, where she weaves in autos and spells together, so Fervor works great for her. You can also take Warlords if you're in a lane that you're going to get harassed a lot in. Warlords also gives you a nice burst of movement speed, but you do also have your W for that as well. But extra movement speed on Xayah ain't bad. For items on Xayah, Blade of the Ruined King is generally the best first item, just because the stats are really great, and everyone's taking it because the item is just really good. Now, the on-hit damage does not apply to other targets past the first if you're passive. However, that doesn't mean it's a bad item. For boots, Berserker Greaves, of course. After that, a Rapid Fire Cannon is really good for the increased range, as Xayah could really use just a bit more range. Once you've played her a few times, you're just kind of like, I feel like I'm getting poked out a bit. Infinity Edge after that, because it's Infinity Edge, you want that extra crit. And then for your last Whisper item, whether it be Mortal Reminder or Lord Dominic's. For the final slot, it's kind of a toss-up. GA is, of course, always a very nice item. You can also get a Maw or a Sterax, depending upon the situation. And the other item that I don't really know how well it would work. I've tried it in a Twisted Treeline game, but I think it kind of depends upon the enemy team comp, is a Black Cleaver. I think that could potentially work pretty well, considering that you're like Lucian, how you get a lot of different hits in, and yeah, I think you can't proc it as easily as Lucian, but you can proc it. So yeah, that's Xayah. She's kind of weak, to be honest. If she's up against a team comp that doesn't just straight up counter ADCs, then you can do pretty well. Especially if you're with Rockin', you can do pretty decent. So, thanks guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Remember to like and subscribe if you did. And see y'all in the next one. Thanks.